step into the core of one of America's most defining episodes as we examine the intense and tragic Battle of Gettysburg. Famous for its brutal fighting and heavy casualties, landmarks such as Devil's Den and Little Round Top have come to symbolize courage and sacrifice. Amid this turmoil, one figure's perspective emerges distinctly: General John Bell Hood. In a heartfelt letter to General James Longstreet, written 10 years after the conflict, Hood shares his reflections on the harsh truths of warfare, the burdens of command, and the enduring memories that persist long after the battle ends. Join us as we explore Hood's intimate narrative, uncovering the complexities of his experiences and their significant influence on the Civil War's trajectory. This is more than a simple battle retelling. It's an insight into the mind of a soldier wrestling with war's lasting wounds and the legacy he forged. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to help grow our community. When Gettysburg comes to mind, names like Pickett, Hancock, Meade, McLaws, and Longstreet often dominate the conversation. Today, however, we focus on General John Bell Hood. His assault on Little Round Top remains one of the battle's most pivotal moments. It is crucial to hear Hood's first-hand account of the events on July 2, 1863. In 1875, years after the war, General James Longstreet, who had become somewhat estranged from many former Confederates due to his political changes, contacted Hood, seeking his viewpoint on Gettysburg's unfolding. I arrived at the Gettysburg Heights with my staff shortly after sunrise on the morning of July 2nd. As I noted earlier, my division began to move into an open field nearby. There, the soldiers were allowed to stack their weapons and take a brief rest while we waited for further instructions from our commanders. Not far ahead of us that same morning, we found ourselves alongside Generals Lee and A.P. Hill, carefully watching the Federal troops' positions. General Lee, clad in his full uniform, with his coat buttoned tightly up to his throat and his saber belt secured around his waist, paced steadily beneath the shade of the large surrounding trees. He kept his field glasses by his side and would occasionally pause to scrutinize the enemy's placements more closely. Though he seemed hopeful, there were moments when he appeared lost in deep thought, reflecting on the difficulties that lay ahead. Nearby, Colonel Fremantle from England sat perched in the fork of a tree, continuously using his binoculars to examine the elevated positions held by the Federal Army. General Lee's eagerness for an attack that morning was unmistakable. He told me plainly, "The enemy is here, and if we fail to defeat him, he will defeat us." Still, I thought it wiser to wait for Pickett's division, which had not yet arrived, before making any move. Later, as we sat beneath a sturdy tree, you remarked that the general seemed somewhat restless that morning. He wanted me to strike, but I was reluctant to act without Pickett's support. "I have always felt uneasy entering battle unprepared," once saying. "I never like to go into battle with one boot off." The morning dragged on, heavy with anticipation and tension, until mid-afternoon. By around 3 o'clock, we decided we could no longer delay for Pickett's arrival. We resolved to shift our focus to the far right and prepare to attack along Emmitsburg Road. McLaws advanced first, with my division following closely behind. Soon, I was ordered to hasten my troops' pace and move ahead of McLaws. To carry out the plan, I dispatched an advance unit, tasked with dismantling fences and clearing the way for our troops. My orders were straightforward: position my division along Emmitsburg Road, form a battle line, and prepare for the attack. Before reaching the road, I sent out trusted Texas scouts to locate the enemy's far left flank. They quickly reported that the enemy's flank rested on Round Top Mountain. The terrain there was open, allowing us to maneuver through a wooded pasture around Round Top, potentially striking the enemy from the side and rear. They also observed that the Federal wagon trains were tightly packed behind their lines, making them vulnerable to an attack from that direction. Upon arriving at Emmitsburg Road, I wasted no time. I swiftly placed 1 or 2 artillery batteries and opened fire, ready to engage and influence the battle's outcome. The enemy's artillery response revealed their positions. Their left flank was near Round Top, with their lines curving in a concave shape as we advanced along Emmetsburg Road. A large force of enemy troops was stationed ahead of their main line, positioned between Emmetsburg Road and Round Top Mountain. This contingent was arrayed in battle formation on a rise near a peach orchard. To comply with orders to attack along Emmetsburg Road, I knew I first had to confront and push back this forward line. At the mountain's base and along its slope, massive boulders were piled, creating narrow gaps that threatened to break our ranks and scatter men as they climbed the rocky terrain. Furthermore, my division would be exposed to heavy fire from the enemy's main line, which occupied the crest of the high ground, with Round Top marking their far left. Because their line curved inward in a concave shape, we faced deadly crossfire from the front, side, and rear. I judged it nearly impossible to navigate the boulders while under such intense crossfire and still drive the enemy back. Success, if achieved, would come at a dreadful cost to some of the bravest soldiers ever to fight. The reconnaissance by my Texas scouts and my own observations of the Federal lines were completed swiftly, faster than it takes to recount these details. Yet the memories remain as vivid as if the battle occurred yesterday. Shortly after reaching Emmetsburg Road, I felt compelled to inform you that attacking as ordered along the road was unwise. I urged permission to maneuver around Round Top to strike the enemy's flank and rear instead. To convey this, I dispatched a staff officer with my request, explaining the reasons behind the proposed change in plan. Your response was prompt and clear. General Lee's orders were to attack up Emmetsburg Road. I sent another officer to voice my concerns that such an assault would likely fail, and to again request permission to maneuver around Round Top. Yet, your reply remained unchanged. General Lee insisted on the attack along Emmetsburg Road. Meanwhile, I continued to bombard the enemy with artillery and became increasingly certain that their line extended all the way to Round Top. I could not realistically expect much success following the given orders. The enemy held an exceptionally strong position, so naturally fortified that I would call it nearly impregnable. They could easily repel our advance by simply rolling rocks down the mountainside, even without relying on flank fire. For the third time, I dispatched one of my staff officers to fully explain the situation and urge you to come see it firsthand. I chose my adjutant general, Colonel Harry Sellers, knowing him to be both brave and highly competent. Colonel Sellers returned with the same message. Shortly after, Colonel Fairfax from your staff arrived to reaffirm General Lee's orders to attack up Emmetsburg Road. This was the moment I made my first and only formal protest in my entire military career, arguing against proceeding as instructed at Gettysburg. Despite my objections, I ordered my line to advance and begin the assault. As my troops moved forward under heavy fire, you came to speak with me personally. During our brief exchange, I once again voiced my concerns and my regret at not being permitted to flank around Round Top. You reminded me firmly that we must follow General Lee's commands. About 20 minutes after reaching the peach orchard, I suffered a severe wound to my arm and was carried from the battlefield, marking the end of my participation in this crucial engagement. While being carried away on a litter, I was filled with deep anguish, worrying about the fate of my brave soldiers, part of one of the finest divisions in that celebrated army. I truly believed that if I had been allowed to maneuver around Round Top Mountain, we would have not only secured that position, but also routed the enemy. I remain respectfully yours, J.B. Hood. John Bell Hood stands out as a deeply intriguing and multifaceted figure in history, whose story continues to draw interest. His assault during the Battle of Gettysburg remains a defining moment, especially at notorious locations like Devil's Den and Little Round Top. Known for their fierce and deadly clashes, What adds complexity to Hood's narrative is that he composed his account 10 years after the war's conclusion, which naturally invites scrutiny regarding the precision of his recollections. Human memory is prone to distortion, and the passage of time often clouds or reshapes details. Since Hood did not record his reflections immediately after the battle, this further complicates the reliability of his story. Still, his letter to General James Longstreet provides a vivid and insightful window into his experiences during a pivotal chapter of the Civil War. Beyond the tactical events, Hood's reflections reveal the internal struggles of a Confederate commander confronting the turmoil of battle and the heavy burden of leadership. This personal perspective enriches our understanding of Gettysburg's complexity and the human dimension behind the historical events. John Bell Hood, Legacy and Reflection. John Bell Hood's vivid recollections and heartfelt tone offer a powerful lens into the brooding soldiers endured during the Battle of Gettysburg. His detailed accounts not only illuminate the physical hardships, but also the emotional weight carried by those who fought on that historic day. Tragic end and enduring interest. Just 4 years after penning his evocative letter, Hood's life came to a close in New Orleans. Despite his early death, his life and military career continued to captivate historians and Civil War enthusiasts. Hood remains a figure of ongoing study, his actions and decisions at Gettysburg still sparking debate and analysis. Looking ahead, exploring Hood's complex legacy. As we continue to revisit his legacy, there is much to uncover about Hood's personal life and the complexities of his character. His leadership during Gettysburg, along with the broader Hood consequences of his military choices, serve as enduring reminders of the profound impact such battles had on American history. Key takeaways. Hood's first-hand narrative provides a deeper understanding of the events at Gettysburg. His emotional and descriptive style brings to life the challenges faced by Civil War soldiers. The broader implications of his decisions continue to shape discussions about the war's legacy.